Do-Rag Wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Earth Day Y2K 20.05.26. Fake Senate impeachment trial, no vindication, no adjudication, no exoneration. Repeat, for your information, if you have sent me any personal messages and you have not received a response yet, please be patient and just check your YouTube mailbox from time to time. I know a lot of you folks are busy, but I just wanted to let you know I'm not ignoring you. Shame on Twitter for allowing Trumpenstup to abuse a widower, claiming that his wife was murdered by Joe Scarborough. I was banned from Twitter. More about that another time. How about this one? 18 months until we have the first trials, and then another 16 months for an actual usable vaccine. Check it out. Do not only trust me for my statements by any means. The music you hear in the background is from Ennio Morricone. Hope I pronounced that last name correctly. I hope that the final E is pronounced. From his motion picture masterpiece score, Once Upon a Time in the West. That's Ennio Morricone. Now, whether you are right or left on the political spectrum, we have a sociopath in our presidency. Look sociopathy up on your own. It is important to note that the sociopath Trump got where he was because half of registered voters did not vote in Y2K16. We have now witnessed the result, climaxing with a worldwide pandemic and near to 100,000 Americans dead, all on Trump's bloody little hands because he failed to act responsibly. I understand the rhetoric of name-calling and insults. So when I call the thing, Trump, that was elected president, a sociopath, I do not make this accusation lightly. I know, and I seriously know, that there are at least 60 to 65 million people in this country, our country, who support Trump, reflected in the 40% of registered voters. So when only 10% on the other side votes, and you combine this with something called an electoral college, voter suppression, and gerrymandering, you have the makings of a perfect storm on our country that it will not recover from if Trump is allowed to be reelected, which I can't even imagine. And I fear it could happen because our nation has defined deviancy down to a point when a thug, it's okay to have a thug to be allowed to ascend to the hallowed halls of our democratic republic, to rise to be president, to besmirch and then destroy the country that he is supposed to serve. Because the sociopath Trump simply believes that he can. And for this past 3+ years, this is all that the Trumpenstup has done. He has taken us down, making the USA the dangerous laughingstock of the nations. Trumpenstup has also gone a long way in making sure that climate change, fossil fuels, and his fried chicken farts entirely stup up our Mother Earth. Look up the word stup. Rachel Maddow likes to use that word all the time. It's a Yiddish word. I knew when our nation allowed a sociopath, Trumpenstup, to ascend to the most powerful seat in our land that something terrible would happen to us. We should have acted sooner in fiery protest for what Trump and Stupp did to Puerto Rico. We should have realized then that the 3,000 dead in Puerto Rico because of Hurricane Maria would not have been so severe if the sociopath in charge of our country, Trump, compassionately aided fellow American citizens during a disaster. Had Puerto Ricans been just a little whiter, perhaps less of them would have died. And so came the CV-19 pandemic to our shores during the final days of the first and hopefully final Trump term. And so too came the Nazi Trump selection line of who shall live and who shall die. Which state shall receive federal aid and which shall not? Which state bowed down to the false Trump and Stupp or didn't, and then got or did not get aid? Which is a blue state and which is a red state? If 100,000 more people die of CV-19 on Trump's watch, he is a sociopath and only cares for himself. Remember that. People have to die for him. As far as this monster is concerned, 100,000 dead could include those who would have voted against him anyways. And as for those who died, who would have supported him and voted for him, to the sociopath Trump, they are simply collateral damage. Only in the sick mind of a sociopath can 100,000 people dead on your watch be considered a success. Ever watch the zombie movies such as the Romero series or The Walking Dead? Ever see as many movies as I have about villains exactly like the fiend we have in our White House? Ever read cautionary tales? I love those. Like 1984 and The Trial, filled with irony and tragedy. Right now, as we all know, we are living right smack in the middle of that cautionary tale. And whether it ends in comedy or in tragedy will be only up to us, the people. To those on the right, I do not care what you do as long as you do not force it on me. But be aware that all of us dwelling on this earth have almost as many opinions as you do. I respect your feelings about abortion, religion, etc., but I prefer the more liberal lifestyle, if you don't mind. And please, respectfully, do not make laws that deny women on our side, or any side, the right to choose. Or the workers on our side, or any side, to form labor unions. Deny rights to every member of your own families that you wish, but please again do not force it on me. So with that in mind, my right-wing friends, please understand what true conservative principles are, because Trump and Stupp and his Trump and Stupp enablers do not follow these principles. Also, understand that Trump and Stupp has no respect for your intelligence and believes that all of you are a bunch of rubes. Why else would he suggest that we all go out and expose ourselves to the virus and or treat ourselves with something like pine sol, for example? Attention, right-wingers out there. All Trump and Stupp cares about, ladies and gentlemen, is himself. If I came and visited one of your states, I would bend over backwards, but not forwards, to show you all the respect I possibly can. I would behave with you folks as if I was in each of your own homes. If all of you were to die there will no longer be an opposition. Our country always needs lively debate and opposition. So please, do not allow President Trump and Stupp to murder you with his sociopathic advice. And to those on the left, I want a humane, harmonious existence in a world where all living beings are respected and nourished, where our planet thrives. We have to educate the world about the importance of progress for good and not for evil. Some would consider expanding drilling on public lands as progress, or building a line of condos up everybody's butt in the redwood wilderness. That's not progress, that's destruction. For me, progress is building more well-equipped schools and living spaces where all can feel human, and other things. We on the liberal side have an awful lot of work to do. Did I want Biden at the end of all this? Now that we have him, whether I like it or not, I intend to vote for him, and I will donate money to his campaign, even though I know he's getting it from the big shots. I hope that he has the sense to choose a young woman of color to be his running mate. If he does not, I will still vote for him, but it bodes ill for all of us. We on the left must not ever again shoot ourselves in the feet because a particular candidate we run isn't kosher enough, isn't liberal enough. Anything running is more kosher than Nazi Trump. We on the left have a lot of catching up to do. Those on the right have been working for years to gain the position that they have today. A fascist strongman, Stupp Trump, on their side to do their bidding. A Supreme Court filled with kangaroo right-wing judges, a cabinet dedicated to our destruction, and GOP Trumpist governors ready to stomp on our voting rights. And of course, let's open up and expose everybody to the virus. Only the strong should survive. And the rest of us, we must back the Democratic candidate with all our being and get out to vote. And after we win, we must build, educate, and organize to back a truly progressive candidate for Y2K24 or Y2K28 or beyond, who will cement a foundation of liberty and freedom that the USA was supposed to be ideally founded on, but you know, we have our dark side. And a final plea to the right and to the left. We need to band together, believe it or not, and remove, not a conservative, not a liberal, but we must remove a true and dangerous sociopath, Trump, from office, who is bent on murdering us all. 100,000 dead and climbing. Voting or not has consequences.